Jai Gurudev, Pam.
Gurudev, Digvijay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So we have Pam Brookman with us today from Chicago, and a few couple of weeks back, we launched her Guru Stories on Sri Sri Guru Grace Stories YouTube channel. We also have app, so if you have not yet checked our app, you should go and check. So we invite all the senior teachers from Art of Living, and we learn from their experiences with Gurudev and also their journey on the path. So, Pam, we have so many viewers also live now, and I will be reading few comments before we start. People enjoyed your Guru story. So, if people who are watching this video, you have not yet checked Guru stories with Pam, part one and part two, her incidences with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar ji. So you should definitely check that out. So Pam, I'll start with reading few comments. For your first part, we got so many comments. Madhvi, so I read names in this section and I read their comments so that they feel that their message gets conveyed to you. Lovely Pam, I had opportunity to do silence course with you, and there is so much love in her presence. We can even feel it in the video. Uh, Sandrina is saying, "Ma'am, you are very beautiful. The light and smile from Gurudev is with you."
Jai
Uh,
Gurudev.
Loga Ganesh is saying that after Guru Purnima in Connecticut in 2010, we were waiting outside Gurudev's room to meet him before heading to airport. Pam was there too. And Gurudev didn't meet us, but as we go to the elevator, we got, we all got his intense rose smell. His ways are mysterious. I hope Pam remembers that. I don't know whether you remember this incident. Okay. And then there are many people who are mentioning they got goosebumps and uh, all these things. It seems like you are saying that Gurudev can read your thoughts. This is again a comment by somebody. Uh, do you really believe that, and have you actually experienced it multiple times? This is one question. The vibrations of the higher consciousness can be felt from your presence, Pam. This is again another comment. Then, okay, many people have commented that you are very lucky and you are very damn lucky to experience this and to spread this knowledge, and they are feeling that they did not get that much of opportunity to be with Gurudev, and they are praying for that. Uh, After that, there are so many comments, Pam. But I would like to ask you, when we shared these Guru stories and when you were telling all these Guru stories, revisiting all those old times, how did you feel?
Well, I guess it just feel normal because that's the way that it was. And I would encourage people not to feel bad that you weren't there then. You're here now. And of the 7 billion people who are living, or 7.5 billion people who are living on the planet right now, you know Gurudev. And so that you're very, very fortunate. And it's it's Gurudev is with us whenever we think of him. That's what he says. And so, and he comes, if you ever go to a a follow-up practice, where you are present, where the recording is played, whether that's on Zoom or whether it's on whatever social media it's on in India or in the United States or other countries, we're using Zoom. And he comes. He comes every time that is played in person. In fact, I have a story about that. And it's with one of my friends, Jim Larson. And Jim Larson is another teacher. I think he became a teacher before I did. And I knew him from days. And so Jim was with Gurudev in India, and they were sitting together on I don't know, somewhere on a fence, I think, on a stone ledge. And Gurudev reached over and he touched Jim, and there was an electrical impulse that was um, emitted. And so, and Jim was startled, of course, because it was an electric shock. And Gurudev said, "They're doing the Kriya right now in Fairfield, Iowa, which is where Jim used to live." And so he just because he's in your presence or not in your presence, it doesn't mean he can't be somewhere else in spirit. And I think that's very difficult for us to understand um, from our daily life. But what scientists tell us, what physics tells us, is that the atoms of of anything, even of our thoughts, are not limited to that thing. I mean, I suppose most of them are there because that's why it's there. But part of them, just goes out. I work with veterans, and I was at a conference on traumatic brain injury and veterans, and there's a machine that measures the electrons that are emitted from our brains when we have a thought. And it's that machine looks like a big hair dryer, professional hair dryer. Something goes over your head. And what happens when we have a thought actually is the electrons are here, and then they go out of your head, and then they come back to a different part of your brain. And so I think physics says too that some of the atoms also go as far as the moon for some reason. So if that's true, then Gurudev could actually, um, through spirit, can go anywhere, and we have that ability too, in a sense. And when we think of someone, um, then we can feel how they're feeling, or we get an intuition of, oh, I need to call so and so, and you call them and they were just thinking of us. We've all had that experience. So somehow we're all connected, right? And especially with Gurudev, we're all connected through that love, through that respect, and yeah. So.
Yeah, true. For all the viewers who don't know, Pam is also a very good singer. She sings in satsangs and all that. So Pam, before we go ahead and I read few more comments uh, and I can ask few more questions by our viewers. So all the people who are watching this can ask their questions and in the comment section, and we will display your question and I can ask that question. Like, what's the app for Gurustories is one question. He's also saying hi to you, Pam. Tintin, he's also saying hi to you. So for Android, we have launched app Guru Grace Stories. So, and for iOS, the app will be launched within a week. Yeah, but the link for the Android is given. So you can, if you have Android, if you use Android, you can check that. And Pam, before we go ahead with this interaction, can we have a small satsang or a bhajan with?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govinda Bhajo, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govinda Bhajo, Radhe Govind. Radhe Govinda Radhe, 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 Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govinda Bhajo, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govind, Radhe Govinda Bhajo, Radhe Govind. I like that bhajan because Govind is the mysterious one, and Gurudev is just full of mysteries. He's clear and always surprising us. New knowledge and new insights into things that we know or we think that we know. You had mentioned someone had asked whether I've experienced Gurudev um, reading my thoughts. And I had, when I was in teacher training, I don't know if that I shared this story, but uh, I had just finished my lunch with everyone, the group, and I had just thrown out the the paper plate or whatever, the trash from the lunch. And I was standing there by the garbage cans, and Gurudev was coming. And he was just maybe, I don't know how many yards away, not very far at all. And I was laughing to myself because I thought, because Gurudev used to say that he was a garbage can, that he would collect all of our negative thoughts, our fears, our bad feelings, all of that, and to just give them to him. And I was reading something actually recently, I think it was from Swami Brahmatej. It was something that he posted when Gurudev turned 60 years old. And I was just going through some old messages and I found that. And Swami Brahmatej said that he asked Gurudev, what should we give you for your birthday? And he said, I have everything. And I don't really have any desires. But the one thing that you have that you could give me is all of your problems and all of your fears and all of your negative thoughts. And so he said that made him feel bad to burden his guru with that. And so he used to say that a lot, all the time, because no one really knew how to be with the guru very much. And some people did, I guess, but there was not a very large Indian community at all in the United States at that time. And so no one really knew. And so he said, yeah, that's what I would like. So I was watching him come forward, and I thought, oh, garbage cans, Gurudev, Gurudev is a garbage can. And I was laughing to myself, and Gurudev gave me the dirtiest look. It was like, like, how dare you think of me like that? I was on teacher training, right? And so then I thought, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then just like that, he changed. And as he got closer to me, there was just this unconditional love that was emitting from him. And so that was, um, I could see that quite clearly um, when when he, um, that was pretty clear because he never looked at anyone with a dirty look ever. I've never seen that, but he reacted to my face. And there was another magical story that I wanted to share with you, and that was uh, after I had just taken my course with him, my sky breath meditation course, and he came up, and then I did a silence course with him right after that. And then I think maybe a year or two later, he came back to Wisconsin. I live in Chicago, and Wisconsin is very close. It's right on the border. The states are on the border. Illinois and Wisconsin are very close to each other. So I went up to this other silence course. I couldn't afford to go on that course because my husband was starting a new business and we had a new son. And but what was really unusual about this course was Gurudev's mother was on that course too, and I had longed to meet her. And so when we have a very, very strong desire, Gurudev says that all our desires will get fulfilled. In fact, I was just reading something recently about that, and he said, in the ancient times, there was a way that gurus dealt with their devotees' desires, and in the olden days or the ancient days, the way that gurus dealt with that to help their followers on their spiritual path would be to make sure that those desires never came true. And it was not out of cruelty by any means, because any spiritual leader comes from that infinite um, patience and love, unconditional love, and compassion. But the reason is because we get stuck on this merry-go-round of desires, which even though we've had desires for so many years, we think that somehow this desire is different and it will get us to this experience of infinity and fulfillment. And we're only fulfilled for a short time, and then of course we're back on the merry-go-round. And so so anyway, Gurudev decided that he was going to do things differently with his followers. And he, as you all know, our desires are fulfilled, so that instead of being deprived of them and then giving up, right? And just realizing that it's worthless to have a desire because they're not going to get fulfilled. His tact is to say, have all that you want. Whatever desire you have, just finish it off. And then you'll see that there's nothing in desires. They're hollow and they don't really fulfill you. The only thing that fulfills you is your connection inside with yourself, which is what, when we experience any joy from a material thing, it's really just triggering that expansion or that connection with ourself, with infinity. So, so it's two different ways to get to the same point. So, so my desire, which was very fervent then, was to meet Gurudev's mother. And so it just so happened that I was only able to come for one satsang of that silence course, and I came, and of course it was all packed. It was small. There were maybe only 150 or maybe 200 max people there, and there had been a group of children that there must have been an art excel course or something, and they were sitting close to Gurudev, and I arrived just as they were performing, and then they left, and then people were so um, happy with that performance, I guess, and being with Gurudev, that no one moved up. And so then I just walked in and I sat down, and it just so happened that I sat next to Gurudev's mom, Amaji, and I was just so amazed. And I had brought a bouquet of flowers, which I had intended to give to her. And then I just couldn't give it to her. I just felt so much love for Gurudev that I just, um, when the time was right, then I just gave it to Gurudev. And then it was very good that I gave it to Gurudev, because then there was um, uh, a daddy longlegs, which you might not have that kind of spider in India, but it's a spider that doesn't bite humans, and it has very long legs, and so it's a harmless spider. But I watched it. It was walking, and there were some steps going up to where Gurudev was sitting, and so this little spider was walking up and walking up and walking up. But then, and I thought, gosh, should I go up there and remove that spider? But I didn't want to interrupt things. And then Gurudev just took the bouquet of flowers and he just gently brushed the spider away. He might have known that the spider was harmless, but still,
Yeah, it was put to a good use also. Then, okay,
Thank
funny story. Pam, it was wonderful to interact with you, and also all of you who are watching this. If you have not yet seen both parts which we recorded with Pam of her experiences with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar ji, her journey on the path, her learnings on the path, uh, that devotion and silence that we all can feel when Pam is speaking. So, if to experience it more, if you have not yet checked those two parts, the link is there in the description. Go click and check both parts of Guru Stories shared by Pam. And Pam, thank you very much for your time today.
you.
Uh, would you like to say something to conclude this discussion? And before we can request you to sing one more bhajan to conclude. Is there any comment from your side?
Um, yeah, I think I'm so grateful that you are hosting these sessions, not only with me, but with so many other teachers, especially the Swamijis from India, um, because they're so uplifting and helpful for people to feel that connections, and that's a great blessing that you're sharing. I'm so glad that you were brave enough to do it. Yeah, you're doing a great
Thank
job. And
thank you, Pam.
I did want to share another story.
Yes,
And
please.
this is a really a magical story. And it happened in 2009 when Gurudev came to Chicago. And this is a story about Tanuja. Tanuja, or Tanuma, as she's known right now, is just a wonderful, wonderful teacher. And she lives, I think, at the Bangalore Ashram. She's the wife of Rishi Nitya Pragya, who's another, both of them are my favorite teachers. And so Tanuja came to Chicago to help us organize a huge national course in Chicago for Guru Purnima. And during the darshan, um, that's where Gurudev gives his blessing to people, and people line up in different formations. And in this one, he was walking around, uh, and Tanuja took a picture of a couple who had just gotten married. And so Gurudev blessed them. And she looked at that picture uh, a little bit later. And what was very unusual is, well, first, what's not unusual is the way that Gurudev gives darshan frequently, or at least he did that day, was, and I've seen him do it many times, is he uses a rose and he'll touch people on the head or shoulder with this rose, and, just like a friendly, blessing. And so when she looked at the photo, the rose in that photograph, digital photograph, was was translucent, and you could see the wall. You could see the outline of the rose, and you could see the wall through the rose. And then the other thing that was so, it gives me goosebumps to remember it. The thing that was so interesting and magical was that there were red dots that went from the rose to the couple. And so, we, some people might wonder, well, am I getting a blessing, or what is happening? And there's something happening. There's some electromagnetic something happening. Probably there's energy that's being transmitted, and whether we feel it or not. And so that's a beautiful, um, was a beautiful story. And the thing that I would recommend, and not everyone might know, is to, when we receive a blessing from Gurudev, or anyone actually, because anyone can give a blessing, right? And we have that blessing course. Um, the what is recommended to do is to sit and receive that blessing. So just like to sit down and be in a meditative state and just receive that blessing and just take it in. It's really it's very special. Otherwise, we don't think of it. It could just be, oh, that was nice, and the mind goes next. But really, to be there with that and receive that fully will give you all, even more benefits of the blessing. I think honor and respect, I guess, is important when we receive. Take it.
Beautiful, Pam, and thank you for giving your time today for this session. And all the viewers, I'll request you to watch the Guru stories shared by Pam. You can feel that silence while listening to those stories. You will also feel settled the way I'm feeling. I hope so. And it was wonderful interacting with you, Pam. Thank you very much. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah.